welcome to Boomer Guitar Sessions. This is Rod. This is episode 29. We are talking about setting goals. We are talking about your guitar roadmap. When I say guitar roadmap, here's the deal. This channel was built for people who want to get better on their instrument. They want to take positive action steps to get better on their instrument. They got a passion for it. With that said, it's completely logical. Like, this is something that everybody kind of knows. If you want to do something, if you have something, you got to kind of have a goal that you're aiming for. You just can't, everything can't be all cloudy and non-form like. Okay, so what is the goal that we have? So it's going to be different from each one of you, but today what we're going to talk about is things that we can be working on as a beginner guitar player and as an intermediate guitar player, focusing a lot on the beginner guitar stuff. So with that said, all right, so first things that we learn, first kind of stuff you got to get into in guitar. First off, you have to have a guitar teacher that appreciates the stuff that makes you want to play music. That fire in you, you need that. You need to find a mentor that does that, okay? And that in that, songs we like-ish, doesn't have to be the exact songs necessarily, but if I'm wanting to play Nirvana and my teacher's only teaching me Kumbaya, that's probably the wrong person. So with that said, that's the first caveat. So now, then the first things that beginners need to learn are kind of like the basics of music in general. So when we say the basics of music, we're talking about what is a chord, what is a melody, what is rhythm, and why is rhythm important, okay? Maybe we can get into some of the different styles of music. Also, if you're a guitar player, my opinion is that you should have a guitar hero. When I say that, who are the guys that you think they make you want to play? All this stuff is going to be your foundation: chords, melody, rhythm, that kind of stuff. All right, and who makes you want to play? Next thing we do is, what kind of techniques do we need to learn for basic songs? Okay, we have different kinds of techniques. We have strumming techniques, we have picking techniques, we have soloing techniques, we have fingerstyle techniques. As a beginner, we'd focus on the techniques required to play the beginner kind of stuff. When I say beginner stuff, stuff that's not ridiculous, but it should still sound like the music. Not going to be starting on Master of Puppets. I once knew a guy that's claimed that the first song he ever learned was Master of Puppets, and that's a fallacy. Nobody does that. You don't start at something that high, and it just wouldn't make sense. So it wouldn't be possible. So with that said, we're going to play. I guess the goal could be, what do we want to do with our guitar playing as a beginner? I want to be able to play songs. It makes no sense to me that you would want to get into playing guitar because you want to play exercises. That doesn't compute. Okay, so you want to play songs. So everything that we would be learning is going to be song-centered learning. So you focus on the song, and all the other lessons and all the other things that you need to learn can be brought in conjunction with the song. What kind of techniques it needs to be played with the riffs, strumming patterns, different kinds of chording, whatever it is. Now, number 4, I'm going to call this practical note reading. When I say practical note reading, learn those kinds of note reading that are going to help you achieve your goal. These are going to be your survival skills. When I say that, when I started playing 46 years ago, my teacher started me on the Alfred book. which was horrible. Okay, we learned one string at a time and we learned to read, and I was like, that's great. It wasn't. It wasn't great. What you need to do is you need to check out the reading that goes along with your goals. You need to learn how to read a chord diagram. You'll need to learn how to read tablature if you ever want to play a guitar riff. You're going to want to learn to read tablature. You're going to want to learn to read a chord chart. To not learn a chord chart, to not learn a chord diagram, to not learn tablature. If you don't do that, you're at a minus. You're asking for a rough time, because those things will make life so much easier. So after the chord chart, we can talk about rhythms. Rhythms is not infinite. Rhythms, but it is something that is closer to the reedy stuff that you would learn in books, but it's absolutely useful in so many different instances. Okay. And then finally, after all this is gone through and you learn, you decide if, and not all of you will need to, standard notation. Okay. It's not necessarily a goal for everybody. Most rock guitar players can't read a note, but a certain part of the population will be able to do this. And now, it may not happen in your beginning stages. It may happen in your intermediate or advanced stages. So that's what I call practical note reading. Okay, chord mastery. We want to learn chords. We want to learn our open chords. We want to learn our bar chords. We want to learn our power chords. And we want to learn them in conjunction with songs. And how do we apply this stuff? Okay. Strumming techniques. Or basically, can we play in time? Everything that I teach, my goal for you is to have you be able to play with other people. Okay? If you can't keep time, you won't be able to play with other people. All right. So now with that said, that goes good timing. Good timing. In my approach, timing is the most core skill that we can learn. It's like rhythm is the center of everything. If we don't have rhythm, we have just notes scattered randomly, and it's just noise. And rhythm is the glue, the conduit that makes everything work. So we work a lot on rhythm. Okay, number 8, riffs and techniques. When I was a kid, when I started playing guitar, I started in 1978. I liked whatever was popular in 1978. Kiss was the reason I started. Ace Frehley was my guitar hero. I had a Rush album, Caress of Steel. I got into Styx. I got into Aerosmith. And I later got back to the Beatles. Beatles was the first music I ever heard and sang to as a kid, way young, like 3 and 4 years old. But by the time 1978, whatever was happening in 1978, I was all about. It's all guitar rock. It's all riff rock. Riffs were the center of all the things that I liked. So riffs were important. So the riffs and the technique associated with the riffs, that is something we want to do. And it all should be fun. That excited me to be able to do this. Okay. Now, the next thing I think every beginner guitar player should go through, and this is subjective, because some people just want to play acoustic guitar because Taylor Swift plays acoustic guitar. But most people our age, my age, when we play guitar, we want to dabble in acoustic and we want to dabble in electric, both acoustic and electric styles. So get familiar with acoustic sounds, get familiar with electric sounds, and learn songs in each camp. Okay. So the next thing after that, what we're going to do is we're going to build on these songs. We want to learn, start assembling a group of songs. And we're going to build on these songs throughout time. In other words, the more you learn, the more you can add to these basic core songs and styles, sounds. And if you find this exciting, you're adding new pieces to that constantly growing puzzle. Okay. It's a balance. It's a balance when we practice guitar the proper way and we learn guitar the proper way. It's a balance of fun and discipline. When I say that, it's not always are we going to want to do the hard stuff, but we'll get to the point where to not do the hard stuff, if we don't do the hard stuff, we're going to plateau and we're going to just be able to do what we've always been able to do and we never grow. Okay, so discipline is required to make steps forward, learning new things and doing things. And maybe you stink when you first start. That was the case with me. Learning usually happens, the way it works is I've probably met in my lifetime 10,000 guitar players. I know of one or two that were complete naturals. That what they did, like in 6 months, they were doing stuff that was unthought of. Most people are not that way. Most people who are good at the guitar are not good because they're naturals. Like some people are just naturally smart at math. In music, in training your fingers, you're good at this because you do it a lot. You work at it. The natural musicians, and I'm not even eliminating it. I work with all kinds of musicians. It comes through repetition. It comes through passion. It comes through work. It is not that thing that everybody, like, they want to say that you can learn this. That some people just have it and some people don't. Well, some people have passion. Some people have access to that energy. That's probably what's closer to being true. So the motivation matters. You have to be motivated to do this, but the thing of it is, that is the first thing, like in a beginner, in mindset, in beginner stuff, the first big mindset shift that me as a teacher or anyone as a teacher has in a beginner is the idea that you got to make it in the student that you can do this. Because if you're really excited about music, sometimes it can feel impossible. Like all this stuff that you hear and you like, sometimes it can feel impossible. It's important to know you absolutely can do this. I've seen it thousands of times. All right. So when we realize we can do this, we can play our favorite song, then it's no longer practice, it's play. We're going to work on stuff. We're going to spend time on it. We're not going to watch the clock. All right, a little bit about intermediate players. Couple things, intermediate players, all the above and more. Like all those above things, you got to believe in yourself, balancing fun, discipline, songs and motivation and chords, melody, and all that kind of stuff. But for intermediate players, the big paradigm shift, the big skill shift is we're going to learn about improvisation, and we're going to learn to improvise, and we're going to learn about playing in key. Okay? And our core goal is no longer, we already know we can play. Our core goal is to master a core style. Whatever that core style is, it can be a core style and adjacent styles. When I say that, you can be into pop, but you can also borrow from rock, pop, country, pop, rock, pop, a little bit of folk. But then there's going to be some styles that are going to be out here in left field that are completely different. That we'll leave that for later lessons. But to master a core style, some people that sound like, and they are great guitar players, they never leave this level. I have had students that were absolutely amazing metal guitar players, absolutely amazing neo soul or whatever. Neo soul's a little different because it's kind of it is a mixture, but like we'll use metal as a thing. Absolutely sensational metal. They work their stuff up. They sound as good as anybody. But that's the only environment that they can exist in. Now, the other part of this is that might be the only thing they care about, musically speaking. Everybody, you define what you like. You define what you like and what you don't have to be all things to all people. You define how far you take this. Some person just being able to play Taylor Swift songs, that might be success for them. And that's fine. It's not for me to say. Okay. So, but that core style, that rock, that pop, that whatever, indie, I don't care what it is, but everything is going to attach itself to that. So anyway, this is Rod, Boomer Guitar Sessions, intermediate players, music theory, learning to play in key, learning to improvise and working improvisation on all the above beginner skills. And that's going to change things in big, big ways. Boomer Guitar Sessions, you can do this. I appreciate you. See you next time. Hi, this is Rod from Boomer Guitar Sessions. I personally wanted to thank you for being part of our community. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of it, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. And this helps me spread my musical messages to all over the world. Thank you. I appreciate you. And always remember, you can do this.